All right, welcome to another episode of the Disciple Men Podcast, Spotlight Edition. Today we got on the pod a very, very familiar face. You'll see him in just a minute. We're talking finances today, and we've had a lot of conversations in the past. And this man's got some great wisdom, some great insight, and he is very familiar to this podcast. So I was going to bring him on right now, Brother Billy. What's going on with you, sir?
All right, my brother, how are you this day?
I'm good, sir. I'm good, man.
Awesome,
I'm I'm
awesome.
I'm glad you're here to have this conversation with us today. You're a man of a distinctive age that has done well. I must say you've done well. We've had conversations, and I'm proud of the accomplishments that I know personally you've done, especially speaking in the financial area. And I wanted to see if we can get some insight, to some of those things you've learned, some principles you picked up, and let's get some of those jewels you can drop out for the viewing audience to help us to be a little more financially responsible and prepared, so that the next generation, even after us, is better because of the moves that we're making here today. Sound good?
Absolutely, let's do it.
All right, my man. So, first of all, I want to start off with the question of how important is the role of the man and making sure that the financial stability of the home is what it is.
Oh,
Let's start with that.
absolutely. I tell you, that role of a man in terms of that home and the financial responsibilities that come with it is humongous. And it is something that no man should take lightly. As men of God, I mean, hey, we know that at the end of the day, everything falls on our shoulders.
Exactly. All day.
And therefore, I'm sure, every household has its flow.
Yeah.
We flow how we flow, every marriage, every
Hmm.
household, right? But at the end of the day, the man knows that, yes, my wife, she got a good job
Hmm.
and, finances are good.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I know that ultimately it's my responsibility to make sure everything in this household financially flows.
Buck stops with us.
It stops with us
Hmm.
because my wife and we started out at a very young age, right, in this marriage. And it was just me at the time. I'm talking about in terms of bringing in the finances.
Yeah.
It's in the military. We got a young child, so hey, she's going to have to stay at home right now, because can't afford a babysitter or anything like that or a
Yeah.
daycare, you
Yeah.
know. So guess what? We're going to make this thing happen off this one income. So we
Mhm.
got to be very financially responsible.
Yeah.
And over time, that thing grew where she was able to, okay, now I can go out into the workforce. And but at the same time, I stayed steady on one principle is
Mhm.
that we're going to always manage our finances where it's good to have my wife's finances that come into the household,
Right.
but the bills and saving, just everything that we do, the core of this financial situation in this household
Yeah.
is going to be based off of the finances that I bring into the home.
Okay.
That if
Okay.
I know my wife, you know your spouse, and if something happens at work, as men, we can take a lot. And
Yeah.
and sometimes we take things, we deal with situations, whatever, because hey, we put our families before ourselves. And therefore, we just let it roll off our back, whatever that situation is.
Yeah.
But my spouse, she may not deal with things the way I deal with them or whatever. She may
Right.
not be willing to deal with that. And she may be like, everybody loved that show, Everybody Hates Chris, right?
My man
She
got
do one
two
of them
jobs.
Rochelle's on me. Yeah, my husband got 2 jobs.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
out of here. I just thought I'd throw a little humor in there. But at the same time, to make that point is that even today, where we done raised 4 children,
Mhm.
they're adults now. We got
That's a
grandkids.
blessing.
And my wife and we do well financially.
Hmm.
But at the same time, our income is not based on what she bring in.
Okay.
What she bring in is good. It allows her to do a lot of the things that women love to do. They like to shop and they like to do all
Mhm.
the little, glamorous things or whatever, and that's cool. But at the same time, we're responsible with her money too,
Exactly.
with a portion in the savings and all that
Mhm.
kind of thing. But at
So,
the end of
okay,
the day,
this is then getting
it's
into the
my
strategy,
finances.
right? This is what you
Mhm.
have for the family.
Right.
Talk to me about that. What is the actual strategy that you incorporated? Because it sounds like this is a well thought out thing that you've done from youth, from y'all first got together,
Mhm.
that you've been implementing for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's how many years now?
It'll be 40 years in
40
September.
years, man. That's a blessing, y'all. That's a blessing. And we're working towards that. I got 21 in myself, so I'm
Well, it
I'm
goes
I'm, I'm
fast, my
chasing
brother.
that. I'm chasing
Congrats
that.
on those 20,
Thank
man.
you, thank you, thank you. But that took a strategy to make that happen.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, man. Break that down in some context.
And you
What
know
were the
what?
actual things you did?
When you think about it, and when you ask that question that way, when I think back on it, I don't know if it was strategy or not. It was just, at a young age, just God giving me a certain wisdom to,
Okay.
whatever. One thing that my wife's mom said to me, and we were about to get married, and it stuck with me, man. Even to this day, I think about it, and it just touches my heart.
Mm.
She loved me and all of that, and she knew that I loved her daughter,
Yeah.
and we were young, very young, fresh out of high school. And she said, "Billy," she said, "I know that you're gonna take care of my daughter and my grandchild."
Mm.
She said, "Because Billy," she said, I love you, I admire you." She said, "You've been grown a long time." Now, I didn't realize it at the time, but that what she said to me, it had a lot of meaning to it, a lot of meaning.
Mhm.
And I didn't truly get the full meaning of it until years,
Yeah.
time passed or whatever. And what it was is that, I had learned so many things from my grandfather. You
Yeah.
guys hear me on this podcast talking about my grandfather all the time. And he wasn't an educated man or anything like that. I
Sure.
mean, my granddad, when
In a
he passed,
traditional
right,
sense.
in a traditional
Yeah.
sense,
Yeah.
because my granddad was born in 1902,
Mm.
and everything. But he had wisdom,
Yeah.
and he had wisdom.
Yeah.
He knew how to take care of his family. He knew how to budget. He knew how to go out and hustle and make extra money on the
Mhm.
sides and things like that. And he took me with him most of the time. You saw my granddad. I'm usually with him, hanging
So you
out.
picked up a lot of those skills
He
along the
picked up a
way.
lot of
I
skills
like
from
that.
him along the way, and everything. And
Okay.
so as I grew older, I, was able to further develop those particular skills.
Uh-huh.
And you call them, what's the word you just used for me
The
to,
strategies.
that strategy,
Okay.
and all of that just developed into whatever my strategy.
Okay.
I just love to put away for a rainy day,
Okay.
you know, because the last thing I want is to be stressed out about what could happen
Now,
and things
let's
like
pause
that.
on that real quick. Let's talk about that rainy day
Hmm.
fund. Um, if we were to contextualize that and kind of put that into a different amount that you may want to think about, how could somebody say, I have enough rainy day fund saved up at this point in time? What are the goals they're looking for?
Well, I think if you turn on the news and see what's going on, and even the rich billionaires, they're still trying to be richer. So
Hmm.
I don't know if we ever get enough.
Okay.
I don't know if we ever have enough in there. But it's enough to where you feel at least comfortable. You feel secure that if something was to happen unexpectedly, we're gonna be okay.
Okay.
We're gonna be okay. And what that is that you remember the whole Y2K thing, right? That
Yes.
scared a lot of people, man. And
Yes.
you're a tech guy. I
Hmm.
mean, that's your thing. And my grandson's that way too, man. I don't know what he would do without his tablets and computers and things like
Go
that.
crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm more of a traditional, some people call it old school.
Hmm.
That even though my wife and I, we do well, we save every week. Every
Hmm.
week there's money going into a different savings accounts or whatever,
Okay.
and we treat those savings accounts like they don't even exist.
Okay. I got
It's like fire and forget.
you. Hmm.
It's there. But one thing My grandfather taught me also, it's just like gold, right? A lot of people are getting rid of their gold back. Gold is not worth anything. No,
Mhm.
gold is always going to hold its value.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with our currency.
Mhm.
So each payday, guess what? I'm probably going to go to the bank sometime during the course of that weekend or whatever the case,
Mhm.
and I'm going to draw out some of that money in cash.
Okay.
And my wife and I, we put that away. It's safely at home, locked away somewhere,
Mhm.
one of our sons know where everything is,
Mhm.
all of the important stuff.
Right, right.
But we still believe in putting away cash money too.
Mhm.
Because if the systems crash,
Yeah.
and God forbid any of that stuff happen, where you can't access your bank accounts or whatever,
Sure.
we got some cash put away too,
Yeah.
in a nice amount, for, unexpected stuff or whatever
Sure,
the
sure.
case. Yeah.
I got
But
you.
but in terms of all the other rainy day stuff, we mostly, my savings and things like that, but we got investments,
Okay.
401ks and things like that or whatever the case, because just as well as I know, if you ever need any money from your 401k, uh, that's just go online and request it or make a phone call
Yeah.
because it's there, but you don't want to mess with that because that's for
Ever.
future,
Yeah, man. A
absolutely.
lot of penalties. You
Yeah.
just don't want those
Yeah,
right
you don't want
now.
them fees.
Okay, so talk to me about once you have this comfortable feeling, I have some things set aside. If it's, an accident happens or anything like that, I have finances for that. What now is done with your money to make your money make more money?
Right,
Give
and
me that strategy.
yeah, man, Imma tell you, and I got started late too. I got started late, and, I wanted to kick myself because, when I first got into, the 401k thing,
Mhm.
um, I just stayed with G funds because that
Mhm.
was guaranteed. These are government securities,
Okay.
but it grows slow,
Okay.
slow interest, slow, and even though the job was matching you dollar for dollar up to
Mhm.
5%,
Yeah.
and everything, and, I like to go in there about every 30 days to see what it's doing or whatever
Sure.
the case,
Sure.
some people go in every couple of weeks or whatever, but, I like going about every 30 days, and it's growing, but I'm
Okay.
like, "Man," you talk to other people
Mhm.
and they have diversified,
Right, right.
and so finally, I took a chance. I'm going to diversify. Well, first of all, I had to study up. Let me learn on this. Let me
Sure.
talk to some people.
Sure.
I don't want to, take no real big risk here,
Right, right.
not knowing what I'm doing.
Exactly.
But you realize that when you diversify, you want to spread it around where it kind of balances. So therefore, if something over here takes a hit, takes a
Yeah.
loss, well, you got some investments over here that actually gain, so it kind of balances out.
Yeah.
So you're never losing. If anything, you're gonna always win, but you're never gonna lose
Right,
because you
right.
got a balance there.
It makes sense.
Yeah. But again, I just got started doing that just a few years ago. I
Okay.
should have been way ahead on that.
Not bad, not bad. So even with a late start net, you're finding some movements in that direction is better than no movement at
Oh,
all.
absolutely,
Okay, that's good. And
absolutely.
and I will say that if you can get started actually young, starting to save money, starting to invest and things like that, and just forget about it, just sit it there and just keep adding to it little by little,
Yeah.
it'll make its way by the time you get my age, his
Oh yeah.
age.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you'll be a very happy
Oh,
person.
yeah. If I'd have knew about this, well, let's say 40 years ago when I
Yeah.
had first joined the military or whatever, man, and just not touched that thing and especially diversified it and just let it
Mhm.
do what it do. Oh, I would probably be a millionaire right now.
Yeah.
Or if I'm not a millionaire, that I would never at least not have to work again,
Sure.
and just live off pensions and things like that and just live a good, comfortable life
Yeah.
for the rest of these days.
Okay, and that's good, and that's why we're having this conversation because we want to make sure people have great information
Yeah.
to make these financial moves at an
Yeah.
earlier age with greater information,
Yeah.
so they can come out better for their generations that come
Yeah.
after
But you
them.
know what I want to say about that? Is that most people, I remember we had that teaching right here at our church.
Hmm.
And a lot of people with, good jobs and their job offer 401ks and things like that. But here's what happened. We get so used to that net pay every couple of weeks or how often you get paid or
Yeah.
whatever, every week, every 2 weeks. And you done built your finances, your bills, everything around that amount.
Yeah.
And you're afraid to invest into a 401k, or you're afraid to increase it to maximize
Yeah.
what your company is matching you and things like that. But I'm
Mhm.
telling you, it's worth it. You're not going to miss that. I
Yeah.
guarantee you, after a couple of few pay periods of increasing that, you're not going to miss that money anymore. But that money is working for you for future, for down the road.
That's good. That's good.
Absolutely.
That's real good. And I think you pointed that out. That's really important.
Yeah.
So talk to me then about how you took these strategies, these skills you learned from your grandfather. How did you pass that down to your kids so that they were more financially prepared
Yeah.
from all the skills you've learned? Just making sure that as each generation comes around, they have a leg up or a higher step than you did, gaining from the wisdom that you have from you.
Man, I tell you, whenever you say something like that, whatever, you see my face just lit up, man, because that's one of my proudest accomplishments, my in life. My children, man, because they were, they're mine, and I wanted to make sure that I brought them up all the things that I didn't get or
Yeah.
learn coming up.
Mhm.
That would be shameful that I didn't pass that knowledge, that wisdom off to them.
Sure.
And I remember they were very young, and
Mhm.
I used to sit and teach them different stuff concerning finances. I remember the first time we went and opened all of them, at our bank. They had their own little accounts.
Okay.
Now, because they were minors, my wife or me, one of us had to be on the account
Sure, sure.
and everything. And they got their first little debit card, their little debit card. And matter of fact, I got those cards now because I had a copy too.
Sure.
They give you a copy and the kid got a copy. And they were all like a little dollar bill.
Mhm.
So cool. And my kids just thought they were balling, because see, now they get their allowances, right?
Mhm.
We made our kids work for their allowances. So every week my wife would make out the chart. Okay, you got kitchen this week, you got this, you got,
Yeah.
trash,
Yeah.
whatever. And they knew that come I was military, come the first and the 15th of the month, man, I get my allowance. And we gave them a pretty hefty allowance,
Sure.
because, but we gave it to them for reasons. We taught them, number one, to give back.
Yeah.
Give, and my wife made them give that 10%
Of course.
to the
Gotta tithe.
church.
Teach them
Yeah.
that early.
So they had to give back. And we taught them how to save. Just
Mhm.
because you got money,
Come on.
you know, that don't necessarily mean that you need to just spend your money.
Exactly.
I say, just think about it like this. Your mom and dad provide everything you need anyway. You
Yeah.
got all your food, everything you need. We got. We don't make you go buy stuff that's for
Mhm.
school related. We're gonna take care of all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play football. Yeah, you're in a band. You don't have to spend your money on that because mom and dad takes care of all that.
Right. You got
So
your 3 hots
why?
to the cot.
Yeah. So why are you blowing your money? Well, the kids learn how to keep that money and
Mhm.
and and let it grow
Sure.
and let it grow and everything. And I remember showing them just how, hey guys, look, if you do this, these good things can happen right here,
Yeah.
or whatever case. Teaching them about credit
Yeah.
and everything, because we were in church. My
Mhm.
kids, all they know is church, since they were babies. And, you got somebody up there jumping and shouting, pray for me. We're trying to get a new vehicle. We need a
Mhm.
new van and this
Mhm.
and that, or whatever the case. It's just like our pastor say, well, why are you up in this prayer line when
Yeah.
all you got to do is sit down and get you a pen and a pad,
Yeah.
and you need to
Bring the
change,
budget.
you need to repent, meaning you need to change your mind,
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
you think, and just come up with a budget.
Mhm.
Pay your bills, pay them on time,
Yeah.
and just do all the necessary things. Your credit's gonna fix itself,
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know, and therefore we won't have this long prayer line,
Mhm.
whatever, And so I taught them those things to keep their credit straight and
Yeah.
to pay their bills and whatnot. I even told them about when you're going to a car lot, you're not gonna beat the car dealership.
Yeah.
That they're trained, they're specialized. This is what they do.
Mhm.
But it's got to be a win-win.
Yeah.
So as long as it's a win-win that you get what you want, you got good credit, you got the job, so you got the income,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yard. You got the upper hand going in, right?
Yeah.
Because they need your business.
Right.
Because
Right.
if they don't get your business, the company's going out of business if they're
Hmm.
not selling the cars, right?
Right. Right.
So you don't want to leave out of there with a buyer's remorse, because you done felt pressured and they done talk to you in something crazy you can't afford.
Right.
So hey, walk away. Call your dad. I'll come up there, whatever the case. Even to this
Hmm.
day, and my oldest son is 40 years old, but he still used those strategies and things like that. So he remember all that stuff.
That's good, man.
Absolutely.
And I know they not only will not forget it, they'll teach their kids as
Oh,
well and keep
absolutely.
passing those jewels down. That's really
Yes.
good. Let's talk about topic that I don't believe we in the black community speak enough about. That's preparing for death.
Hmm.
Um, Talk to me about the preparations we should be making to make sure that when we transition on into heaven, our families aren't hurting.
Right.
What are the steps we got to take to get that prepared?
Wow, man, that is a good question. Good question. It's a much needed question, but I'll tell you, man, I've seen so much in my years within my own family. I'm talking about my uh, relatives that live afar and things like that. That there's a death in the family,
Hmm.
and oh my God, and this is a time where we should be coming together. First of all, to grieve, but at the same time, it's a celebration of life
Yes.
and all of that. But when money's involved, because we don't have money to bury a grandma or
Hmm.
grandpa or uncle so and so, whatever, and it can tear a family apart.
Definitely.
I've seen it happen,
Yeah.
you know,
Unfortunately, I could say
that
the
this is
same.
an occasion where we should be coming together, but
Yeah.
now we're fussing and fighting over crazy things or whatever. And you come to a point, I know I had to come to a point. I said, you know what? I'll never forget it. I was in Hawaii and my grandfather passed.
Mhm.
And we thought our grandfather was covered because he had been in one of those burial associations,
Yeah.
for years. But when he passed, there was still like $2,600 that needed to be covered
Mhm.
to take care of everything. And I remember when I got the phone call, my grandfather had passed, and we talked about it, and they put me on emergency leave, and when I got home, we had a family meeting because they
Mhm.
told me that they was short, and I never forget. They say, Billy and Donna, if you guys could put up that 2,600, and once everybody get back home, settle in a little bit, we're gonna come together and we're gonna pay you guys back. Look, I was in my early mid 20s in that time, but I wasn't
Wow.
stupid, like because we all know that once that weekend is over and everybody go back to their lives, what's going to happen? They're going to do just that. They're going back to their
Mhm.
lives and their day-to-day business.
Sure.
And they're not going to be thinking about that 2,600 that my wife and I done put up to, take care of that business down there.
Right.
And
Right.
so I just got tired, man. I said, you know what? I'm done with this. I named all of the family members in my family
Mhm.
that were elderly and couldn't afford to keep up no insurance premiums and
Yeah.
things like that. And I talked to my wife, 'cause my wife and I were truly a team.
Mhm.
If it's something on her side of the family that we need to take care of, guess what? We're going to take care of that, and vice versa on my side. I said we're going to get insurance on my mom. We're gonna get insurance on my uncle, one of my favorite uncles, who he didn't have insurance or
Yeah.
any of that. We're gonna get one on my baby sister, stuff like that or whatever,
Mhm.
and pay those premiums every month for years.
Mm.
When my mom passed away, guess what? No problems at all in terms of finances, in terms of burying her. Matter of
Praise
fact,
God.
there was money left over, you know, after everything. I let my sisters, hey, you guys just go shopping, take care of mom. Y'all pick out the casket, her dress, everything,
Yeah.
whatever you need to get. I said, we got X amount of thousands of dollars from this policy.
Yeah.
So do what we need to do. Let's send our mom off. And we did that. My uncle passed years later, same thing. His family was able to grieve and to put him away respectfully and all of that.
That's good.
Yeah,
But
and,
it takes that preparation, what you're talking
it
about.
takes
Somebody's
preparation.
got to think about this thing long
Right,
term, put the policies in place, put the money to the side and everything, and say that okay, we have this covered.
yeah,
Understanding that there's the cost for burial, there's the cost for the plot of land, there's the cost for so many things to go along
right.
with that. And if we can't itemize that and say we've got an answer for that, somebody's gotta come up with that plan, and we gotta
Absolutely.
start thinking about that now
Yeah.
instead of waiting till later.
Absolutely, man. Because here's the thing, man, and for each his own. I don't want to offend anybody that's listening to this podcast. But, you know, like the gentleman asked, the plan. What's the
Mhm.
plan? GoFundMe is not a plan.
It's not. Fish dinners aren't either, by the way. Just put that out
That's
there.
a new one. I
It's
never
not
heard of
either.
that
Fish
one.
dinners, yeah, that
Yeah.
don't work either.
On the fish dinners. Oh, but yeah, man, it's about being responsible.
Mhm.
It's about because when people are just trying to make it day to day,
Yeah.
and they know they're getting elderly and they're kinda sickly. They're not thinking about, "Well, let me go get a policy and this and that." They're trying to live. They're just
Yeah.
trying to live day to
Yeah.
day or whatever. But it's gonna take some responsible family member,
Mhm.
to say, "You know what? I got you. I got you.
Alright.
You know, I got you." And that's what, and don't worry about the people, or whatever, because all they're gonna do is talk anyway.
Yeah.
They're gonna talk either way. Here's what I mean by that. All they're gonna do is talk. I'm talking family members,
Mhm.
friends, or associates. It was so crazy. I remember uh, when my sister died, and because she was younger, she was killed in a house fire.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. And and we had a nice substantial amount on her because she was younger, so I was able to get more, insurance on her for less,
Yeah.
and everything.
Which is also why they say get it done earlier than
Right.
later
There
because
you
it's a lot
go. It's a
cheaper.
lot. Those
Yeah,
premiums are
yeah.
a lot cheaper.
Uh-huh.
And it amazes me that even some family members, they never said it to me, never
Sure.
said it to my wife. But when we came around, you can hear a little bicker. Well, we didn't even hear that. We heard about little,
Right.
you know, well,
Somebody told
uh,
somebody
uh,
that told somebody.
how much is the policy? Well,
Oh, wow.
we never told anybody amount except a couple of people in my family, some
Sure.
responsible people. But you know how word gets out,
Mhm.
and everything. Well, it's only going to cost X number of thousands to bury her. To this and that. What's going to happen with all the rest?
Of course. That's the next question.
That's not your that's not your
That's your concern.
business. None of your
You
concern.
didn't put money
You
towards
didn't you
this.
didn't you didn't think about any of this
Mhm.
beforehand. We've been paying these premiums for years.
Yeah, yeah.
And anytime I do a policy or whatever, that's like my grandkids.
Mhm.
Okay, we got 11 of them.
Wow. Big family.
Yeah, we got
Love it,
pretty
man.
big
That's
family,
awesome.
man. Yeah, but guess what? Every time each one was born, guess what we do? When they do the birth certificate and all of that to make it
Mhm.
official, I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling my insurance company and establishing a policy on my grandchild.
Uh-oh. You get a policy. You
Yeah,
get a
you
policy.
got a
You get
policy.
a
So
policy.
that's my, how they say, we leave, your children's children,
Yeah,
something.
that inheritance.
I don't own a big business or anything like that or
Mhm.
whatever where I can leave them, like some of these billionaires who was born into wealth like that. I
Yeah,
wish I had it that way so
yeah.
I could leave but I'm trying. Uh, uh, but I'm going to at least invest in their future because Paw and Grandma, we don't ever expect to see these policies into fruition.
Right.
I don't want to bury my own children.
Sure,
I
sure.
definitely don't want to bury grandchildren. They're going to
Definitely.
bury us.
Yeah,
But those policies are in place.
yeah.
They're in place,
Mhm.
and therefore, with the beneficiaries, listed, me and my wife, but whoever the parents, they're the beneficiary after us if we're deceased.
Yeah,
Now they're the benefit. Now they get to make sure their child is taken care of. Make
that's
sure my
good.
grandchild is buried and taken care of, and then there's gonna be plenty of money left over for you guys to do better, put you in a better financial situation.
That's good.
So that's my investment into my grandkids right now. Every single one of them have an insurance policy.
And again, I think that a lot of people fear the conversations of death and taking care of what bills come after
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But I want people to understand that there's a weight that comes on the
it
family when
is.
somebody doesn't do that.
It's
You know?
needed, man.
Yeah.
That conversation is needed, and it could be an awkward conversation because I
Very.
remember when my wife and I, my kids, we was just sit down. They were just little ones, almost teenagers or whatever. And keep in mind, I was in the military, so there's wars and there's
Yeah.
training that I
Yeah.
do that's dangerous or whatever. But we would have those open conversations. That hey guys, what would you all like to do for me if I died?
Hmm.
How would y'all like to send me off? And I know that seemed awkward that I'm alive and I'm talking about this to my children,
Sure.
and I want to hear what they got to say. And they said, "Well, Dad, we would want whatever you would want." Okay, well, here's what I want.
Okay.
You know,
Jedi mind
and
trick.
then we
I
put
got
that
you.
in writing. Here's how your dad want to be put away,
I like
and
that.
things like that, or whatever the
And I think
case.
that's important
Yeah,
because a lot of times during that time frame of somebody passing on,
hmm,
a lot of high emotions. And I've seen where people want to spend this exorbitant amount. I want to put them away in
yeah,
style, da da da.
yeah.
That may not have been that person's
May
views
not have
or
been.
their desires. It's like,
Absolutely.
nah, I didn't want y'all to spend really any money on me. I want you to cremate me
There you
and keep as much money as possible. I'm already gone. I'm up there with Jesus. You know what I'm
man.
saying? I'm not trying to worry about being in the ground. I'm not even in that body no more. But those were my wishes. But if
Absolutely.
those aren't even spoken of or understood by the
Yeah.
rest of the family,
Right.
somebody could, in your honor, look to say, I want to put you away respectfully and
Right.
spend way more than you would have even wanted them to do
Yeah.
just because your wishes weren't understood.
Absolutely. And by you making those wishes known, it takes a lot of stress off the family.
Yes.
It really does. They already know I'm going to be buried in my military uniform. They already know it's going to be a military type burial where there's going to be a military detail, and
Hmm.
they're going to be carrying my casket and firing the salute and all of that.
Yeah.
So they don't have to go out and spend money. Or if you're gonna, we're not going to bury him in his military uniform. Well, don't go out and buy suits and whatever. I got a closet full of suits. Every
Right, right,
color. So okay, if you want to bury him in blue or whatever, well, I got a few blue suits
right, right,
and
right.
things like that, whatever. But I'm telling you, man, and just having that peace of mind.
Yeah.
I had a friend. He passed away. He and I are the same age. We both came up through the ranks unexpectedly. Man, he was in a car crash.
Mm.
He was driving on in one way, and the car flipped on the other side, but it crossed the medium and crashed,
Wow.
crushed his car. He died instantly.
Mm.
And this was a few years ago, so he wasn't even 60 yet. He was probably around 56, 57.
Young.
But he had the same mindset with me when it comes to his family.
Hmm.
His wife, she's set for life.
Praise God.
She's
Praise
set
God.
for life. Her and my wife, they're real close friends.
Hmm.
And they talk at least every couple of weeks on the phone. And when they
Yeah.
talk, they're on the phone for at least an hour or so. But she told my wife, she said, one thing I can say about my husband, man, he really had things in order. She
That's
said,
wonderful.
Donna, she say, now I'm gonna keep my job because I need something to keep me busy because
Yeah.
their kids are grown too. They only had
Yeah.
two. She said, I need this for my mental health.
Hmm.
She said, but financially, she said, man, I'm set.
Great.
She said I was able to pay off my house. I don't have any car payments. She got three cars out there. His truck, uh, a the car that they had, her car vehicle.
Hmm.
I mean, she's good. No bills.
Praise God.
And with all of that money that came from, he had like 3 or 4 different policies or whatever the case.
Sure.
She gonna continue to get his military pension the rest of her life and things like that. So he set her up nicely. And that's the same way I got my wife set up. I want it to be that if something happens to me, that she don't have to be stressed out in terms of finances. That
Right.
man, she's set for life.
Yeah.
All she got to do is just be a good steward of
Hmm.
what she's been, blessed with
Yeah.
in my passing. And guess what? I'm set up the same way in case something happened to her.
Yeah.
Because as men, we're making sure that they're taken care of.
Hmm.
But at the same time, man, any of us can go at any time. We don't know. It can
Yeah.
be by natural causes or it can be accident.
Yeah.
So if something was to happen to my wife, I got her set up similarly to the way that I'm set up, you know.
It's good.
So therefore, I'm not out here struggling or
Hmm.
whatever the case. Amen.
So to bring it all home and to kind of bring this conversation to an end, I want to bring home a couple points to make sure that we make sure that the viewing audience understands well, and that is starting early matters.
Hmm.
Okay, I don't care if you're starting out with $10.
Yeah.
Start saving something because all it can do is stack up after
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Adds up quickly.
and then you have the power of the internet at your hands. Educate yourselves. We have people maybe in your lives like Deacon Billy over here who understands finances very well and has learned a lot in his time frame. But I tell you, a quick Google search can
Hmm.
really put you on game. Okay. And there's a lot of info out here. And we'll try to even link a couple of places you can go to online in the description of this video here when you look at it and subscribe and like it. Y'all know what to do. Y'all know
Yeah.
what to do. But also on top of that, have these conversations with your family.
You
Talk
got to.
about
It's
that.
critical, man.
Get out there and let people know it's something we got to know because what you don't want to do is have that once the person passes. Now
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out in a moment. Talk about what happens after I'm gone and
Absolutely.
start making preparations now for that because you never know.
Yeah. Never know.
God can call us home and say, "Hey, your assignment's done here." But now what happens to your family?
Hmm.
Are they going to struggle because you decided not to be responsible and put things in place to have them be taken care of? I know as a man, hey, that doesn't feel well for us. We can't stand for something like that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So at
No.
the end of the day, take the responsibility of what it takes. Make the sacrifices now. Do the budgeting. Take care of your family. All right.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna give you the final words, Deacon. Give me something.
Man, I will just leave you with this. Look, um, at the end of the day, men, and I know mostly our audience is that we're targeting men. It's just be those men that God has called you to be. You know,
Right.
don't worry about all of the naysayers, the whatever.
Hmm.
And men, let's bring it in. Teach these young men, this next generation. You know, these kids need us, man.
Oh yeah.
They need us. The thing that I hate is turning it on the news and I'm seeing these young people out here doing this crime, doing this whatever. And my number one question always is, man, where are the fathers, man?
Mhm.
Where are
Mhm.
the fathers? You know. So, it's not about, all that foolishness that we probably did in our 20s or whatever. You're a grown man now,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to put away childish things,
Act
man.
like it.
And we have to teach this next generation because if we don't teach this young generation,
Mhm.
guess what? There's another generation coming behind them.
Yeah.
And so they missed it. And so what that's going to do to that next generation that's coming behind them.
There it is.
So let's get back to our rightful places. Amen.
All right. Thank you again for joining us on Disciple Men podcast. We hope that you got something out of the conversation, that we brought some value to you. We're trying to do something over here, and we need your help to do that. If you could, please like and subscribe, share the video with a couple friends. We want to make sure to get this word out, help us men to step up to the road we're trying to do for the family, for God, for the community. We need your support. Look forward to you in the next one.